Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 190. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and today, for the first time, I'm joined by Steven. Steven, how's it going?
Pretty good. How, folks?
Good. If you guys want to catch this podcast live, you can go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You could drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live. You can join in on the fun and chaos of the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and puts one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, anyway, you can support the show. Likes, shares, subscriptions, whatever. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow, so if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Right, Artemis? Right. So, yeah. We got Steven on today to talk about some fun topics with you guys. So let's jump into topic one. A weird one of timing, at least for me. Let's talk about moving.
This is the greatest.
Oh, it's the best thing ever. So yeah, Steven, you've moved around quite a bit.
A few times.
Yeah, so I've never really picked your brain about it, just that experience. I mean, granted, you moved away, so it's a little harder to have those conversations. But yeah, you've been
gone just as much as I've been in New York.
Right.
Like, born and raised, went to high school here.
Right.
But then, 18, joined the Navy, and I had like a couple months of summer that year of my senior year.
Yeah.
And I was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Came back 3 years later. Or 3 years ago.
Sure.
So I was gone for like 17, 18 years.
Decent chunk, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been California.
Yep.
You've been... Is it Maine?
Yep.
Okay, Maine. Hawaii.
Yes.
Those are the three.
If we don't count Florida.
Oh, you were in Florida.
Spent nearly a year down there, too.
Oh, okay.
I just training for...
Sure.
After I got out of the Navy.
Yeah.
So that was in Chicago. That was only 2 months, and I was in boot camp, so I don't really count that.
Sure.
Somewhere where I got to really experience, they let us leave for a day after graduation, and, I went to the mall with my parents, and so that wasn't that exciting, but, then they sent us down for, like, a secondary training school in Florida.
Oh, okay.
So that was when, because you go through boot camp, and then whatever your job is, your specialty, they'll send you wherever else to go do additional training.
Okay.
And then this one was, I did aviation electronics, so it was a longer school, one of the longer schools they have. So I was down there in Pensacola, Florida for 10 months.
Okay.
And then, got orders out to San Diego, California.
Gotcha.
So...
all around.
Yeah. That was the chunk of my 5 years in the Navy. I did a year in Florida, 2 in San Diego, and then I moved up to my second set of orders was Lemoore, California. It was like Central Valley.
Okay.
Horrible.
Okay.
Horrible part of California.
Gotcha.
Central Valley, the sky's brown. It smells like cap crab.
Sure.
And that was horrible. That was a miserable way to end my tour. But then, picked stuff up and moved out to Maine.
Yeah.
And did 4 or 5 years there. Yeah, I have to do the math.
Sure.
But from 08 to 13. But if I go in too fast or you have any questions, let me know. Because I've told the short version so many times.
Sure,
so
it's just like
doing it long format, I'm just rolling through it. Yeah.
No, you're good.
But then did Maine, got out of the Navy, got my associate's degree in marine biology, went to community college while I was waiting tables. And so it was kind of my whole career track. One of the big reasons why I joined the Navy was for college money. Gets ironic later in the story.
Sure.
It was my main focus. I always wanted to be a marine biologist growing up, and that was kind of my goal. So that was going to give me the ability to do it. Got out, moved to Maine. I wanted to go to Boston, but realized we weren't going to be able to afford it. It's just too damn expensive for what we wanted to do. And that's when we found Portland, Maine, which is like Boston light. It's New England. It's on the coast. It's a beautiful small town. You got a lot of options, a lot of great food. A lot of great food options. Seafood, obviously, but a lot of higher end stuff too up there. I was up there for a while, going through school. Got to do an internship through there, which was fun. It was like 2 months or 2 weeks, somewhere in there.
Sure.
One of the two.
Yeah.
A bunch of time out on a boat, helping the NOAA for the North Atlantic Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Sure.
They do a scallop survey every year for the scallop fishermen.
Okay.
So they just go out and they take the numbers, but they need people who like work in the boats and doing all of the electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a research vessel that I got hooked up with. So I did that for a while. Kind of got a taste of like what a real life marine biologist would be out doing. That was more of like the crew side of it though than like the science side of it. But the scientists would come on board and I could kind of like observe them and see what they were doing, and it was just kind of cool to watch and get like a little bit more of an understanding of like what the job entails, you know, at least the fun part of it.
Sure.
Because that was, you know, they come out, they do their research, and then we pull them back.
Right.
But yeah, but that was fun. Got to see, like, you would pull up all, you know, they just trawl the bottom of the ocean, which is horrible. It decimates the you know, I'm just coming out of ecology class, and I'm like, oh, this is you have to rationalize like the cool things that you find that they dump out onto the table that you have to sort through, and you're just all the bycatch that you're throwing back in the ocean that from whatever 1,000 feet deep. Now they're at the surface and their eyeballs are bulging out of their heads, so that was kind of sad. But got to see a lot of cool stuff out there. Great experience. So then I graduated, got my degree, wrapped that up, and I was Hawaii bound. Like so I had two options. I could stay in Maine and go through like their program. It was a biology program primarily, or I looked around and there weren't too many universities that offered a marine biology specific degree, which is what I was really looking for. I want to be a marine biologist, you know, not just a biologist that specialized in marine science.
Okay.
And so University of Manoa in Hawaii offers a marine biology program, and I looked into it and I was like, all right, Val, I've got two options here. We can stay in Maine, and the winters there sucked. A beautiful city, loved it in the summers. The 2 months that you could spend in the water was great, but the winters were harsh. I mean, you know how they are here. They're just as worse, if not bad, up there. Rolling around in my tiny little truck, I had to put like bricks in the back just so I could like have traction and not fishtail everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was like, Maine or Hawaii? And she's like, you know, Hawaii.
Yeah.
So we spent the next 6 months literally selling everything we owned, liquidating everything that we had accumulated.
Sure.
Except for, I think we had sea bags full of clothes and a carry-on, and that's what we moved to Hawaii with.
Wow.
We stepped off the plane with a couple grand in our pockets. Did not even a place to stay yet. We just had a hotel room for a week.
Wow. Okay.
And we just found an apartment.
Yeah.
You know, tiny little studio thing.
Sure.
And that's where we stayed for a little while. That was like our first year and a half, 2 years, and we had like 3 different apartments once we got to Hawaii. But we stayed there for 7 years. And the way the University of Manoa works with the GI Bill is you have to be first a resident for a year before you can get in-state tuition, and they'll only pay the in-state tuition with the GI Bill. So I had to be a resident for a year anyways before I could even apply for school. Okay. So I went over there. I thought I had a job lined up because I was working at the Olive Garden, which is owned by Darden, and the only Darden restaurant that they had on the island was Yard House, if you've ever heard of them. But a little higher up, upscale, a lot of beer centric, like 100 beers on tap.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But the food's good too.
Yeah.
Menu was huge though, and it was all Hawaiian ingredients that I wasn't familiar with.
Yeah.
I'm like, just, you know, fresh foot of the face on the island. And I just was like, all right, well, I don't think this is really going to work out. So I tried to look around for other things. I worked at this like a smoothie shack for a little while. This guy I worked with hooked me up. He's like, hey, if you need a job, I work for this tour company. You can come help me out with, you know, work up here. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take the job. And so what it was giving tours around the island on a double-decker tour bus, like in London, of the island. And they stuck me on the worst tour because I was the new guy. It was just a shopping tour, like where people didn't realize what they were buying really, but we just picked them up from like from their hotel. Like we would swing around Waikiki, pick everybody up, and then we would bring them to the shopping mall.
Sure.
And then drop them off, and be like, see you in 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
And then we would just pick them up from the shopping mall, move them to a different like plaza where they had a bunch of outlets. They're like, see you in 2 hours. And they're like, because everyone was foreign. Yeah. Like foreign tours. Australians were easy enough to cut, but all the Japanese and everywhere else, like language barriers out the wazoo. And I am fresh-faced on the island, giving tours that I looked up on Google the night before. Like, okay, well that'll be interesting to say. Trying to learn the history as I'm like reciting it. Like, okay, I can say this, and this. When we take this turn, I can say that. So that did. I was like, all right, I need to find something else. And then Val was working at Chili's there. I'm like, all right, serving, something I can go back and do. Like, it's easy menu. I know all the stuff. I can get it in. And so I worked there for a little while, and they shut down. And then started working at Tommy Bahama's. They had just opened up a brand new building. They built it for the restaurant, top to bottom. Started with a whole new staff, trained us all at the same time. Big class. It was really good experience. Worked there for 5 years, and it was like the best job. We were making $200-300 a night. So I mean, Hawaii was expensive.
Sure,
They cut into it pretty easily, but yeah. So and then after 7 years in the island, you island fever. You know, you just kind of gets to be a little much. You can't they don't really music acts or big act nothing really comes out to the island because it costs so much, the extra stuff that they have to bring along. So it's not really a trip that they're doing. You'll get stand-up comedians because all they need is a microphone, you know. So that was fun. We get to see a lot of stand-ups, but just not be able to travel and see something new. Or get in the car for 3 hours. If you did that, you were back at the same spot you started. So it was all right, I've seen everything. We went to a couple of different islands. We went to my 30th birthday, we went to the Big Island. That was awesome. I learned, I got qualified to scuba dive for that. Went scuba diving with manta rays at night.
Dang.
They have this candle box. One of the coolest things I've ever done. So they call it the campfire. It's pretty much a milk crate with a bunch of flashlights stuck in it.
Oh, sure.
But so when they put this at the bottom of the seafloor, you're probably about 30 feet down, not too far. You can see everybody up top. Val's up top snorkeling, looking down at me while I'm down there. But so you got this campfire with all the flashlights shining up in the water. And then everyone, you go down with your guide, and they sit you down on the bottom of the ocean floor, and they hand you a rock and put it in your lap.
Okay.
And you're just sitting there either enjoy the show.
Sure.
But so what the campfire is, it's attracting all the plankton. They're going to the light source where the bigger stuff's trying to eat the little stuff that's attracted to the light, and that's what these manta rays eat. So the things 14-foot wingspan come and just loop to loops, just swooping in and out. There was this one moray eel that they had. I think his name was Freddy or something like that, but he just cams out right there, swimming in and out, not worried, just hey buddy, how you doing? Head scratches and stuff. It was amazing. Going belly to belly with Val up top because she's looking down. It was so cool. So that was on the Big Island. Spent a week there for my 30th birthday. Got to see a volcano in person.
Okay.
That's cool. It was right after that big flow they had too. This had to have been when did I turn 30? 15s. It'd have been early January 2015. They had a big flow right up to where we're stopped. We stayed in the neighborhood over here. But I drove across the island, got to, snorkeling out there. Was underwhelming, but cool. It was better than the Oahu, the big, everyone goes to Hanama Bay. But the decimation of the coral reef there is because it's the most popular, most trafficked. Everyone's going there with their sunscreen and standing on the reef, even though they make you watch a 20-minute video before that says, do not do this. And they still, you just see people standing up there waving. So that's sad, but then on the Big Island, it's a lot more untouched. They've got a preserve that you have to take a boat an hour to get to, the Captain Cook Memorial or whatever on the other side of the island. But much more vibrant colors. The only place that I've seen better than that was when we went to Thailand. We did spend 3 weeks in Thailand while we were out there, and gorgeous. We took a 4-island tour, and in between, they would just be stop the boat and be go ahead, get in the water. Take 20 minutes, go look around, and I'm Mr. Marine Biologist over here. I'm underwater. No one can hear me. I'm just freaking out at myself, and I'm, out the boat, I'm thinking to myself, I should probably lift my head and see if Val's around. She's back on the boat, 50 yards away. Everyone else is drying off, and the guy's yeah, you should probably come back. I'm all right.
I don't want to.
But I wanted to spend all the time in the water. The only thing that got me was the last place we stopped, jumped in the water, and it was cloudy looking. And I'm ew, what the hell is that? And I'm realized what they surrounded by jellyfish.
Oh, jeez, okay.
I'm like, I'm like, okay, we're good. Everyone's like, there's jellyfish in there, and there are a couple of guys that were like, you're like, oh, we're good. Because they've already seen a couple. They found out real quick, so. But yeah, no, that was an amazing trip as well. But I can talk about that for the whole podcast. And then so Island Fever, kind of wanted to like move somewhere else. Right after Charles' wedding there, we were toying with the idea of moving up to the Pacific Northwest, the only corner of the country I hadn't seen yet, you know. And so we were like, all right, after the wedding, we'll take a drive up, and because we knew like San Francisco was a couldn't afford Boston, you couldn't afford San Francisco. But we were thinking like somewhere outside of like Portland or Seattle, and got up there and wasn't impressed. Okay. It was just meh. And it was like, I forget, like the riots were going on, but there was a bunch of civil unrest anyways, and it was just like, I don't know if we went on an off week or what, like the downtown just seemed very not happening, and and then the prices for the neighborhoods we could afford were so far outside of the city, the commute was going to be horrendous, so that took us off of that, but we were still like, all right, so what are we going to do? Where are we going to move? And then Grandma and Grandpa's house, you know, I mean, we know, but I don't know about anybody else. The house that, you know, I spent the first year of my life in, and, you know, we've had so many shared memories as well as everybody else in the family. That was like the get-together party house, you know, and so every birthday, holiday, whatever occasion it was, that's where we got together. So running around and, like, all those memories tied to it, I heard it was going up for sale because they had both passed. And I was like, well, I mean, that sucks. I figured someone was going to snatch it up, and you know, someone was going to be fighting for it, you know. And like, now we're just going to put it up for sale and divvy it up. And so I'm like, well, I was like, Val, what would you think about moving back home? She's like, why? I mean, honestly, her family's all gone, but they're up in down in North Carolina still. But I'm like, I mean, the opportunity that we would have to be homeowners, buy the property, and like it was feasible. We just had to work some things out, and I'm like, this is going to be our best shot to like lock something in and actually make it ours, and not be renters the rest of our lives. And she was convinced. She was like, yeah, let's do it. And she's been looking at houses since we were in Maine. Like literally, we had a real estate agent. We were looking at properties. Like she's like, we can afford this one. I'm like, babe, it doesn't have ceilings or floors. Places like that. I'm like, but look at the yard. I'm like, yeah, but look at the house. And so it was just out of our range, anyways. And we still were. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't get locked in because we never would have moved to Hawaii. And I ended up with the house that we got now. So it all works out, you know. I mean. Still getting used to things, being back in town, family. It's a lot. I've done, like I said, 18 years. We just kind of lived my own and out with Val and doing our own thing. And then going from big city, like Portland's not huge, but it's a decent sized little city. And then living in the middle of Waikiki, that's hustle and bustle constantly. To Mechanicville across the river, like historic. Not even downtown Mechanicville. I can't even just like walk to the plaza. It's a trek across the bridge. But you know, hey, it's give and take. It's the trade-in. I got an acre on the river. You know, I mean, it's a great piece of property. I love taking care of it. Just kind of zen out and mow my yard. You know, like mow my lawn. The shuffling of the sidewalks, I can. But, wow. Man. Bought a snowblower 2 years ago now. I haven't seen a snowstorm since.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Just enough to have to get out there and shovel. But, yeah.
Wow.
That's kind of been my go-around of things.
So, with your experiences of moving, what would you say has been the most stressful experience?
Ooh, that last-minute cram. When you're like, we only have so much, because most of my moves have been stressful, cross-country moves. So, I mean, like I decided when the Hawaii move from Maine to Hawaii, we had to sell everything. It took a while. So we were literally out there selling all of our crap just to pare down. That was a process. But then our most stressful move, we moved from, was when I got out of the Navy, we were moving from Lemoore, California to Portland, Maine. with a cat.
Right.
And Val's Kia Rio. Filled, stuffed with everything we could that we couldn't get on the truck, or we didn't get on the truck because we had a moving truck. This truck, I don't know why it didn't fit, but it didn't fit.
Sure. So
we're last minute trying to get these things out because we gotta turn the keys in. The cat's already in the car. Screw it, we're just throwing it out. We'll get a new one. And then we had to drive 3,000 miles with a cat in the car who didn't eat, didn't go to the bathroom, didn't do anything but cry the entire time. So we had this whole cross country trip planned. Like, we were going to take our time and go around like, oh, this is where we're going to see the Grand Canyon, I'm going to see the Hoover Dam, and you know, it's like, no, straight shot across, so that kind of sucked. But most stressful is, I don't know, it's just a stressful process, really.
Definitely.
I mean, trying to pare stuff down that you're still using, depending on the type of move you're doing. Like, is it all in one day, or do you have a week to do it?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely
it's a completely different concept, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, are you doing it yourselves, or do you have friends? I mean, if you're moving furniture, that person on the other side of the couch, that's always a fun experience. Your left! Clockwise! Oh, God. Charlie and I almost came to blows last time we had to move a couch together.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, furniture.
Okay. Yeah.
Furniture is definitely up there.
Sure.
Angles, and then trying not to scratch. Like, you went your entire lease, however many years, not damaging the place, and then you go to move one piece of furniture and you put a gouge in the drywall.
Yep.
That's what I needed.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely fair. Yeah. You mentioned the cross country stuff. Like, obviously, I have my experiences with that as well. Like, same idea. Just we loaded my car with as much crap as would fit in it.
Yes, sir.
And then I didn't do a truck. I flew out there, and then we did like one of those big trucks that just carries the
like
cars.
A pod or whatever.
Yeah. So we did that. So when I first moved out there, like, not having a bed, not having anything for a few days, just like, I'm bored. But yeah, finally getting everything over there, and then the return trip was, Mom and I driving cross country, and like you said, just like straight shot. And I mean,
too long, 3 days in the car.
Right, and I mean, looking back at it, wasn't like awful, but like obviously in the moment, it's just like, there's corn. Yep, there's more corn.
Iowa, Nebraska, that stretch is horrendous.
Yep.
The only thing worse is if you're doing the southern portion, going through like Texas on the 10.
Oh, okay.
It's just desert. Just nothing.
Sure. Yeah, that was interesting because I remember, like, obviously it's jam packed, and like you said, oh, we can't bring this, toss it, kind of thing. Like going past Vegas and just seeing it like in the distance, like, oh, that's cool.
Like, oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
And then Colorado was rough because the car's obviously way down.
The tunnels, and you're waiting on each side.
So going up the mountains and hearing the car struggle, like it still sounds that way from time to time from all that. I'm like, oh, damn. But then once you get past that, like, it was smooth sailing, just minus obviously seeing things, at least different things.
Right, they get that highway hypnosis.
Yeah, but that was, all in all, thankfully, everything went fine. And then being back here has been good, but then Kate moving out, like you mentioned with the cat, like Artemis, luckily enough, I had our new apartment ready, so she flew with him.
Okay,
and
that's the way to do it. Yeah. That was how we were originally going to do it. Val was going to fly out, come back, and then we were going to take our little trip.
Yeah, so she did that, and then he was able to get settled with me, and then when she was ready to go, I flew out, and then we took the drive together. And that was
smarter.
Same idea of like just jam pack the car and do what we can.
Sometimes do what you got. But planning. Yeah, if you don't use it, if you haven't touched it the last month, put it in a box.
Sure.
Like obviously you're down to the last minute here.
Sure.
But that's would be my advice is just if you don't use it, put it away now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's something I've definitely noticed. Like even with a small move like what we're doing now, is just like unloading the bookshelves. Like, I haven't touched this in how long? Do I need that?
Decoration, take it off the walls. You know.
So it's like, it's weird. I don't know if it's like an age thing of like, cause like I don't know. Typically, as people, we want new stuff. I want this thing, that thing, and all that. And then I'm like having that moment with this move. I'm just like, wait, do I really want all this stuff?
Oh, God.
Or, not?
It hurt my soul getting rid of all my physical media.
Sure.
Even though I haven't put a disc in anything in the last, however long, but, like, I had my DVD collection. I had hundreds of, because, I sort through the bargain bin at, Best Buy, and you're like, ooh, $1.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I'm looking at it, I'm like,
My
I haven't
CD
touched
collection.
it, but, like, I don't want to get rid of it.
Now.
Yeah.
Even games, like, it's just their downloads.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. So,
just to touch back on that, you had mentioned going to Blockbuster or something,
Sure.
like the horror movies when we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
And just like that memory of going in on a Friday night and just seeing everything lined up, like all of the art, the cover art. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my, what is this about? And then you would go, it's not the same, just like thumbing through
the
Netflix
queue,
and do I watch that preview? Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a visceral experience.
Sure.
That we don't get anymore, like with the thumbing through like guides for books or lyrics for songs, and just nostalgia.
Sure.
Old folks talk.
Yeah, definitely different. So, with you being all around,
well traveled,
yeah. What has been your favorite place in terms of weather to live?
I mean, it's a toss-up. I mean, I've got the best two places in the country: San Diego and Waikiki, like Hawaii. It's like, I don't know. You did.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of like the because San Diego's got a little bit more variability.
Yes.
A little more seasonality to it than Hawaii does, and that's the only thing I really missed over the years was not having the seasons, not having the leaves change, or the spring, air. Mm-hmm. It was just summer or cool summer.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful in Hawaii. Like 75, 80 degrees, sunny. Mm-hmm. Like it's only 10 degrees difference in the winter than it is the summer on average.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm gonna say Hawaii just because.
Mm-hmm.
I've had lived in two of the best places you could.
Sure. For
9 years total.
Mm-hmm. And then in terms of things to do, what was your favorite place?
Things to do. San Diego. Mm-hmm. San Diego edges out anywhere else just because it was mainland USA, and you were in a big city, and it was just so much to do with it. Like right across the bridge, or in the gas lamp, and they had all the big sports teams, music venues, and you could access to everything. Mm-hmm. Portland, Maine, not everybody makes it up there, but a lot of people make it down to San Diego. Sure, it's a little bit bigger of a place. So and then you don't get anything in Hawaii. There are things to do. Right. You're looking for things to do once night comes.
Mm-hmm. Thought I had something and I lost it. Okay. Well, you said you feel settled now with the house. More locked in. This is your place. It's yours.
My lot in life.
Yeah. Is there anywhere that you didn't go that you would move to, or at least has been like an allure, like a draw for you?
Recently, Austin's been getting a lot of buzz.
Sure.
I would never think Texas would be the spot for me.
Yep.
The weather seems horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as cities, it seems like it's like Portland of the South.
Mm-hmm.
So Portland has its own characteristics, but like I said, if I gave it more time, I think I'd like it better.
Sure.
Portland, Washington, keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
I think I'd give it another shot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anywhere else. Maybe I'm about to say Chicago.
Sure.
But no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'd give Portland another shot.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. All right. One last thing.
Sure.
Since you've moved so many times,
yes.
What is your biggest tip for people moving?
Pare down. Get rid of all of your crap. You're not going to use it. If you don't use it on the daily, really reconsider why you have it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Nice.
Yeah, it just makes the whole process a lot easier.
Mm.
I mean, the longer you stay in one spot, the more you like put stuff away.
Sure.
That's gonna be my downfall, is because I've got a house with a garage and an attic and a basement now.
Storage.
Yep. I've got so many places to store things that, like, why not? Why throw this away? Just throw it over here, you know?
Yep.
But it's going to pile up just like it does for everybody else. So,
Sure.
yeah, every spring, just, even if you're not moving, go through your crap and pare it down. Just don't hold on to stuff you don't need.
Mm-hmm. Nice. All right. Well, I think that wraps up topic 1.
All right.
So, Steven, what is your topic today?
So, what I brought to the table was I come from a large family. My mom's one of 7. My dad's one of 9.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Cousins, aunts, uncles, second cousins, all. I lose track of how many relatives I have at any given moment. But with such a big family, you've got the unique experience, at least from people I'm used to talking to, as an only child.
Right.
So you've got the unique perspective from an only child. Like, how do you think that affected you, negative, positively? Obviously, everyone's a unique snowflake, and their family situation and dynamics is going to be completely different. So obviously, I'm looking for broad strokes, or maybe just your individual experience from it.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, with the big family, like all the cousins and stuff, like sharing those memories that, grandma and grandpas and stuff like that. It's interesting because you get those experiences with all of us together.
Yeah.
Whether it's hide and seek or board games or whatever the hell we were doing, like
Spud.
Yeah. Oh God. Playing, like, doing those things together and like building those relationships and having those memories together, and then to go home and to have no one. I mean, obviously parents were there, but they're doing their own thing too.
Juxtaposition. It's a huge contrast from everybody in your face to just quiet time at home.
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting. I don't know if I've ever like fully thought about it.
Which is why I just kind of wanted to get into it and see what your perspective was.
Yeah, I mean, there were times, I would say growing up, I definitely felt like, a sibling would be nice in this situation just to do something with someone.
Yeah, the loneliness factor.
Yeah, but then there's also, like, when you first brought up this topic and we were planning the podcast, I had thought about it a little bit.
Yeah, you might want to take the time.
There's definitely been times with, like, summer vacations. Like, it's always that juggle for our parents of, like, what do we do with the kids? Where do they go? Because, like, if both parents are working, obviously you're not going to be, depending on your age, not staying home alone. So, like, growing up, having that juggling of, like, my mom, both of us were good friends with another, set of parents and child through Taekwondo. Okay. So that we would go and either I would spend the day at their house or flip it and they would spend the day there. And for summers, that's typically what we would do. And it would, like, be most of the week and most of the summer.
Yeah.
And for the most part, it was good. I do remember one instance where the head started to butt, and we had to kind of, like, take a break. So,
no. You guys didn't get along?
I know. Shocking. So I would say, like, that's been my closest experience with, like, obviously the negative side of having siblings, just because obviously not having to deal with that often. Yeah, it was just like...
Yeah, because that's the juxtaposition of it, too, is, like, you've got sibling rivalry and competition and sharing of resources. Like, being an only child's got pluses to it. Sure. But it's also got, just like anything, it's got its negatives, too. Yeah. Like, all the things that, you have companionship when your siblings are around. It's like all these different things that, people take it for granted or don't really psychoanalyze it. Sure. But, now that you've, kind of been, as an adult, a little bit removed, just kind of think back and be like, because, I mean, everything makes you, or at least attributes to who you are, who you've become. Yeah. So do you think you've, like, so you've had the cousins, but then you felt, like, the loneliness once you got home, did you were you ever glad that, like, I'm alone, there's no one to bug me, or was that constantly where, like, you wanted the grass is always greener on the other side? Because I myself, with 2 brothers running around, my parents in the house, I'm just like, oh God, I just want to go away somewhere. I wish they weren't here. I just need my alone time. Yeah. So I've got that side of it. So do you ever, I guess, value your alone time now, or more so than you
Sure.
would or less?
I think I definitely do still value the alone time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've noticed it now even more in adulthood of, like, I just need to, like, cut everything out. And I don't know if that's just, you know, the stresses
Aging
of life,
does it too.
work,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that stuff.
Of course.
When I was a kid, like, I wouldn't say that yearning for, like, you know, someone around was constant. It was just the occasional, like, oh, it would be nice. Like, I want to play a board game and no one's here.
Yeah.
Or that kind of thing. And then thinking about it more now, once again, with age, just like you said with the companionship, obviously if you have a healthy relationship with your siblings, that's somewhere you can always go.
Yes.
Like, it's like, obviously parents, nice to have, you know, that shared bond, go to them with your stresses, go with whatever, but maybe you can't go to them for some reason. Siblings,
You've got that other layer.
sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like with getting older, like obviously growing up, you have your friends, but life happens and
some stuff you
go away,
can't
and it's
share
not like
the same things that
Sure.
you would with a sibling that
Sure.
you would, you know,
exactly.
an acquaintance or a friend.
Yeah, and like even if the relationship didn't go bad, just grow apart. Like you don't contact each other as much or whatever. And I feel like that at times gets to me now, where like I'm stressed and I don't know who to vent to in that moment. Like I don't feel, and it's weird saying safe, but like I don't want to go to my parents for X or Y, or I don't want to go to Kate for whatever.
I mean, yeah, you have different people for different problems.
Sure. So it's like
not having that layer. That, yeah.
I would feel that is
Love it.
maybe something I've lacked on or don't have. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely still value the alone time for sure.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's just individuality too. Like,
Sure.
I mean, you know, are you more introverted, extroverted?
Right.
Like, that's just up to you. But,
Yeah, and I'm curious if that's a factor too, because like obviously you know me,
of course.
like not the most social of people. Like obviously it's gotten better, but
it does. Like you always struck me as someone with a bunch of friends, like
Sure.
a big social group. You've always got people over at the house, like something I never really had as a kid. It was
Sure.
just me and my brothers.
Right.
You know, we kind of kept to ourselves because we didn't, you know, for a bunch of different reasons.
Sure.
Yeah. But you tend to like. I thought you were kind of like supplanting siblings with
Sure.
a bigger friend group.
definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, you had that. You had all through Taekwondo. I mean, that was a constant social network.
Sure.
That was a family too. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like a. It was even better like a sports team too, because you do that for a year or two, and then you go away, or you
Right.
get on a different team, or.
Yeah.
But that was you went through one place for a while now.
Oh yeah, 20 years.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, just
Almost
making
your second
that
family.
Exactly, making that. Yeah. Huh. I don't know. Just things you don't think about.
This is why I kind of like long form one-on-one conversations like this, because you know, when the hell would we ever, you know,
Right.
You don't drink and I drink too much, so it's like we're sitting down for a beer. And,
Sure.
But and it's hard at family reunions or picnics because you got a million different people running around
Sure.
trying to say hi to this person, hi to that person, goodbye to that person.
Right.
Come throw this and catch this with me.
Sure.
You know? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But
So on the flip side of things, with two brothers, how was that experience growing up?
So, I mean, challenging at times. I mean, obviously, it's easier to point out the bad than the good,
Sure.
you know?
Sure.
It's just human nature. But
Mhm.
there's definitely... So, I've got Donnie, who's my younger brother, the middle kid. He's 2 years younger than I am. And then Charles is the youngest. He's 6 years younger than I am. So, with Donnie and I, there was more of a direct sibling rivalry. We were
Sure.
closer in age. It was, you know... If he did it, you know, I had to do it better, and
Oh,
one-upsmanship.
Sure. Mhm.
And then, yeah, I mean, stupid kid stuff. We would ruffle and tumble. Like, I think I gave him a concussion once. He knocked out a couple of my teeth. You know, back and forth stuff like that.
Sure.
And then when it came to Charles, I think because we were that much farther separated, there wasn't really any competition between us. We weren't fighting over the same stuff. Like.
Sure.
You know, Donnie would be like, why can he do that and not me?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
to, you know, look up at me. And it's a little bit easier to say that to Charlie, but, you know, than, you know, it's because he's a big kid.
Yeah.
But the interesting dynamic that he added to the sibling relationship was it almost like Donnie and I were competing over his affection and his attention.
Yeah.
So it was weird because, like, oh, no, come do this with me, or no, come do this with me, or, you know, and then it grew into like, yeah, you know, you can have them. I'm going out.
Got my fill.
Yeah. It was weird because like you go through like little windows where, you know, it would rotate. Like, he was into trucks and dirt and
Right.
construction. Donnie's like, hell yeah, dude, let's do it, you know? He got into cars and girls, and I'm like, buddy, now what are we talking about here? All right. But, you know, and then as we've gotten older, and obviously, you know, I've been away for so long,
Right.
but our adult relationships are a lot stronger, a lot healthier. Can go and talk to them about, you know, damn near anything. So
Yeah.
it is, like you said, good to have that kind of extra release valve.
Sure.
And then knowing that they're going to be getting a little morbid on you. When my mom and dad go, I'm going to have them to kind of fall back on
Sure.
and have them to ride it out with me.
Sure. Yeah.
Just something to think about. Like, but then they're also going to get a third of the inheritance. You know, so
So-
like pluses and negatives, pluses and negatives.
yeah, that's been a thought too of like a boy like being the only one to deal with that, and then all of the stuff and whatever. I mean, Dad makes jokes about it, like
Right.
just mom's crap, you know. But like, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, hopefully way down the line.
Sure.
We don't have to, but
Yeah.
there's something that, you know, I mean, yeah, because like no one else is gonna know what you went through.
Right.
No one gonna know them as parents.
Right.
What? So.
Yeah. So with kind of alluding back to the last topic, with you being away for so long, were you guys like, did you guys keep up communication with each other often? Or?
I'm horrible at keeping up with people.
Sure.
I talk to my mother maybe once a month.
Okay.
So, you know, even when I'm across the bridge now, she's like, hits me up on text. I'm like,
Sure.
no, I'm still alive. What's up?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, you need something?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, unless you ask me like a direct question, I'm not getting back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't reach out often enough to anyone
Sure.
to, you know, really hash anything out with. So,
Okay.
But no, I mean, anytime we catch up or we do talk, it's like, yo, hey, what's going on? We might talk to you for an hour, and then
Sure.
you're like, cool, see you, in, you know, 5 to 6 months.
Sure. Okay, so it's always felt like that, like just kind of pick right back up where you left off.
Yeah,
Good.
we've never really been like, let's talk on the phone every week.
Sure,
Kind of,
yeah,
you know,
no.
relationship.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. That means it's a very healthy relationship. That you
Yeah,
just-
yeah, I can pick up the
Go
phone,
right to
call
it.
Donnie, and he'll be like right over, like, hey, what do you need? How
Sure.
can I help you? So, I mean, yeah, he drives way too much, but
Sure.
like he'll drive an hour and a half just to say hi.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then kind of on the, I guess the next layer of it with, obviously us all getting older, but families growing.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be like an uncle? How's that experience?
It's weird. Right now they're too young to be like
Sure.
really have a conversation with or
Sure.
you know get to know their personality. I mean like, all right, kid, you know, kind of rub their head and
Yeah.
point them in the right direction. Like, all right, you know, I'll pick you up and show you something cool real quick. But I lose interest in kids real quick.
Sure.
Once they get talking and once they start doing some more cool stuff and be able to tell me about it,
Yeah.
I'll enjoy it more.
Sure.
But yeah, until they're old enough to like pick up rocks and sticks from my backyard, they're useless to me.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, because I've thought about that too. Like, that's an experience I'll probably never have. Like,
You're no kids for
I'm an
yourself,
only
or-
child. Kate's an only child.
Mhm.
So like even just that facet of aunt uncle. Like,
Oh, you'll
that
never be able to
relationship.
that cool uncle
Right.
for somebody.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess I can still kind of get it with, you know, the cousins.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if that's gonna feel different, like or whatever.
It
And
definitely
then-
hit me, struck me like, I'm gonna be an uncle.
Sure.
I'm gonna mess this kid's life up real bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, he's there. He's just they're too young,
Sure.
both of them.
Yeah.
But they're cute to watch and
Sure.
run around and play with for a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, don't have any responsibilities at the moment, so that's nice.
Mhm.
You know, like you said, just go and feed them a bunch of sugar.
Yeah, and then
show
bye.
them all the bad stuff. And,
Yeah.
Did you know this can make noise? Oh yeah, I got you're no.
Yeah.
Fewer soccer games and birthday party cards
Sure.
you have to write.
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh god, all the crap that we went like. We had 3 kids and they all did the same crap like year after year. You like. My poor grandparents. Just imagine you having to go through all the grandkids
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I know. Yeah. Hopping around everywhere.
Yeah. That's getting dragged to that stuff later on once they start getting
Sure.
activities. Like, no, I don't want to go see their play.
They just do one? Yeah. Oh god. Alright. Sure. I'll be there.
What do you got? You think about kids for yourself?
It's been a back and forth thought. Like, I don't know. Kate's not
What's
really
got to do with it?
So I'm like, yeah, that's fair. I think the biggest thing, like, growing up, it always seemed like that would be the track or whatever. I don't know, like, it's a lot of discussion I've had now being older, if it's like, and across many different discussions, whether it's career, kids, life, you know, whatever.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know if it's just the messaging that was put out there, not just by my parents. I'm not trying to dump it on them of like, oh, it's your fault, but just like
as he's looking at
just like everybody's conversation of like, this is the path in life. Like, you hit 18, you go to college. You hit this age, you know, get an apartment or a house.
That's what you do.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if it's just like
our generation got such a bad lot though. Like everything's so much further back.
Sure.
Like, sure, you can go to 18 and go to college, but then you're like, now I have to pay off this debt.
Right.
I have to rent an apartment until I can pay off this debt, and then I can. The market now is it was at 3, now it's at 12.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know if it's just all that, like, I guess subliminal messaging of like thinking I wanted that, and then with Taekwondo, like anything, good days, bad days.
Yeah.
Like, all these kids are great of various ages,
but not kids aren't great all the time.
Sure. And then the bad experience is like, oof, yeah, no, I'm good. So like even now, I don't know. I think I'm more on the negative side towards it. Not like it's a bad experience, but like I don't know if that's my path to have kids. But it still creeps in from time to time of like sharing those experiences.
Yeah.
Like,
that would be nice if
like it's a silly thing, but like Disney's always been a big thing for us. And like going to Disney, like
to
this
just be
most
able to
recent
show
trip,
someone something for the first time.
Exactly. Like I had that experience with Kate. She hadn't gone to Disney World in Florida, but sharing that with her,
so
obviously
you get to experience
relationship
it through her for the first time.
Exactly. Yeah. And like seeing it through a child,
it's a different place. Like that's why parents bring their kids.
Exactly.
And spend thousands and thousands.
Yes. But like even thinking of whether it's obviously that scale or something different of sharing those experiences together, or seeing like, what are you interested in? Are you interested in similar things that I am, and I can share that with you? Mm-hmm. Or are you going to be into something totally different?
You don't know what you're going to get.
We can experience it together and learn that. So like, and then thinking back to like parents and like the experience I shared with them, like Pokemon cards. My dad humored me, and we would play it from time to time. And
it's got game theory behind it.
Yeah, and obviously we now share like the video game stuff and having those conversations, and then obviously Mom once again with Disney and stuff like that, and the shared experiences with like Taekwondo, with us both being in it. Obviously me on the floor, and then her in the back and doing the office work, but like having that shared experience.
Make a bad joke, but we're like different podcast.
Like, yeah, that's something I've thought about. But then also leaning towards like the not having kids side. Like I think I talked about it at the party the last time. Like, I don't feel ready. I don't feel like I have my stuff in check at all. And to think to bring someone else into this, and then obviously 100% responsibility for them. Like it's not like you said, hang out with a kid. Well, okay, you're gone. You know, someone else's. Like,
no, I mean some people roll the theory like you're never going to be ready.
Sure,
and it'll like force you to get your shit together.
Sure,
but
what
if you don't?
Right. It's just like that's to me that's too much of a risk. Yeah. Like everything I do affects you in good, bad,
and
whatever.
If you're not in a good spot, you're not gonna. It's gonna affect the kid too, because you're gonna be stressed and not be able to provide them as much attention
and that
love
live with me forever.
Yeah. And that's on you. When that kid enters the world, it's your fault.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just been my big thing now. And once again, circling back to the subliminal messaging or whatever, it's just like it's a lot of stress to think about and consider. And I know that doesn't have to be the path. Obviously, that's just something like the battle inside of myself of like, what do I want?
Yeah.
Right now, it seems to be leaning towards no. But I can't lie and be like, that's not a creeping thought every once in a while. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And I think from what we've talked in the past, you guys are...
No, I've never wanted kids. Never. Fleeting thought.
Fair enough.
I always wanted to be the bad uncle.
Hey, we all gotta roll the
do the fun stuff with the kids and then send them home, you know?
Sure.
I enjoy my peace and quiet. I know I'm a selfish person, so it's just,
No, it's not... I think that's... Like, I've had that thought, too, of, like, am I being selfish right now? I don't think
you can look at it both ways. Like, it might be selfish to, like, I want a copy of me in the world.
Sure,
like, I'm so great. there should be more of me.
Sure. Yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with having that time to ourselves and figuring that out. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Like, instead of not having your shit together.
Sure. Yeah.
Got 6 years on you. I'm still working on it.
Mm-hmm. So.
You're 8, I think. Yeah. You're 32.
I'm 30.
30.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8. I'm 38.
Yeah. Yep. So, what would you say is the most? What's the best thing about having brothers?
Ooh. Having backup for mom and dad. Like, I was the oldest, so I still had to pave the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I had, like, 2 other guys, if something went down, to point at and be like, oh, instead of, like, Steven! Sometimes it was, boys!
Mm-hmm.
Dispersible blame.
Sure.
Just to be able to get into things together and get up to no good with just being like, those damn kids, as opposed to him again.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Sure. And then, is there anything that you want to improve in your relationship with your brothers?
I wish I was closer with Donnie, honestly.
Okay.
It's harder. Like, Charles and I has always been a little bit more simpatico, just because
Sure.
we didn't have that initial rivalry dynamic.
Yeah.
But he's, got a wife and kids, so he's kind of sequestered away. If
Sure.
he's not working, he's taking care of them or doing, family stuff.
Yeah.
And so he's not coming over just to hang one-on-one too often. But yeah, I wish I would, or wish we could spend, arrange more time to spend a one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of hanging out and getting to know each other a little bit better.
Sure. Nice.
Charles, I don't know.
Yeah, you get enough of him. Nice. Well, anything else you wanted to cover with this
I
topic?
think that's about it. Yeah, you hit all the things that I was curious about, and all
Sure.
the pluses and negatives. There's two sides to every coin.
Definitely. Nice. I like that topic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good combo.
Yeah. Well, everybody, if this is your first podcast, for whatever reason, thanks for checking it out. But, oh yeah, no worries. But if this is your first time with us, whenever I have a guest on for the first time, I like to take them on the wild journey of the lightning round Q&A, just so we get to know them a little bit better. So I'm going to ask Steven a series of questions. Nothing too difficult, don't worry. He's going to respond with the first thing that comes to mind. If you want to elaborate on anything, you're more than welcome to.
Sure.
And,
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have some fun with that. Now, if I was smart, I would have pulled up this list prior to you getting here, but...
what number of podcasts is this?
190.
Ooh,
we have everything.
Still working out the kinks, folks. Hold on.
We have
Stay
everything.
tuned.
Everything's locked in. All right, Steven, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Favorite color?
Green.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite game?
Ooh, well, what are we talking? Board game,
Anything?
sports, football.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Ooh. Braveheart.
Okay. Favorite type of music?
Metal.
Favorite song?
Let's see. If it's not metal, that sounds weird, though, doesn't it? Yeah. So the one I do, like, if I could only listen to one song for the rest of my life,
Sure.
Desert Island type question. Don't Worry, Bob Marley. Just
okay.
because you can play that on a loop and it can mean anything. You're in a good spot, in a bad spot, just just kind of let that vibe out.
Nice. I think you answered this earlier, but maybe not. Dream job when you were a kid?
I wanted to be a whale biologist.
Whale specifically?
Whales and dolphins, I wanted to, yeah. It's what I wanted to focus on, but then I was like, ooh, octopuses are
Sure.
smart and cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you could have any animal to be a pet, what would it be?
Velociraptor.
Nice. Okay. If you could meet one celebrity, alive or dead, who would it be?
It's a lot to choose from.
Sure. No rush.
Alive or dead? Celebrity. Elvis.
Okay. Favorite season?
Fall.
Favorite holiday?
Holiday.
Okay.
Not a lot to choose from in the fall.
What do you mean, Veterans Day? Or, well, that'll be next month.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
What is a skill you wish you could have?
Ooh, guitar.
Okay. Have you ever tried or?
A couple times, yep.
Okay.
Crappy guitars, bad coordination.
Gotcha. Sure. And then I only have one more question for you. What is a piece of media you recommend people check out?
Ooh, a piece of media. I'm gonna get into like a lot of Johnny Harris, I think his name is.
Okay.
Just like in-depth journalism pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Just been up my alley. Kind of like almost not really comedic, but kind of like John Oliver does with his show there.
Sure.
Just like he'll take one topic and just look at it from like, okay, well, what's going on? How did you get there? And kind of dissect it and give you like a little bit of backstory and context to what's going on, different circumstances. He got a lot of like how the U.S. stole Hawaii. Like that's what piqued my interest first. I'm like, because hearing about it while you're there is a lot different than reading about it in a book somewhere. You know, it's like, no, these are the people that live. That's where the plantation was. The buildings are still there. It's like they annexed it. They pretty much just went yoink after the British yoinked it from them the first time.
Sure.
And then but he just does a lot of like that kind of stuff. And so that's, if you're interested in like journalism and history, it's definitely someone I'd recommend checking out.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody, this has been another episode of The Wait Where We Talk About podcast. My name is Bret, a.k.a. Enigma911, and today we had Steven on. Thank you very much, Steven. Appreciate it.
Likewise.
If you guys want to catch this podcast live, you'd always go over to twitch.tv/Enigma911. You could drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, so you can join in on the fun and discussion here with us. But if you can't catch live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support, likes, shares, subscriptions, follows, whatever it is. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow, so if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Once again, Steven, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Everybody, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.